Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Evolution, the World of Sacred Device. I'm Nye, that's Mako, and we are going up to the 5th floor of the Descent Ruins. I don't know how we're going up in Descent Ruins. That seems kind of backwards, but I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna ask, I'm just not.
Well, you see, the architects got very drunk.
That seems to happen a lot around here. You know what, we're gonna...
Well, you know, it's not like these ancient temples and things are ever built to code.
I don't think they even had a code. I don't even know how they built them. Though it is very, 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 very heavily implied that in the world of evolution, the civilization that built these ruins was actually massively more advanced than the current one, and then some catastrophe happened that caused us to get literally nuked back to the Stone Age, and now we're only just starting to catch up, and we're going into these ruins and trying to see what they had that we don't have now. So, for instance, Psy-frames are not made at all. They aren't. They're found in ruins, and very, very, very rarely are ones found that are in good enough condition for us to actually use.
Ever notice how frequently the universal massive cataclysm thing comes up?
I just finished playing Skies of Arcadia, so yes. I mean, it's an overused plot device, but it does allow for a lot of very interesting stuff. I'll be honest, I'm actually a fan of it when it's done right. You know what, let's change...
Strikes me as an awfully big if.
Let's change spray parts out to ice hand parts, just for fun. I don't... It depends on how they use the mechanic. For instance, I really like it if it's done with a fair amount of mystery, because it's cool to try to piece together on your own exactly what happened and what they had beforehand. Evolution does that particularly well, actually, because, you know, you'll notice that every time we finish a dungeon, I go and read the description of the dungeon item, because the descriptions are mysterious and very interesting, and it gives you this nebulous hint at what was had before the Cataclysm. And it's kind of very cool, especially when the pre-Cataclysm world is ahead of where we are in real life. So it's got this very interesting, you know, we can only imagine type thing. Just a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's a good chance to put a lot of lore into a game. And I love lore. Lore is just a lot of fun. Like, I again have to point to Skies of Arcadia for that. Just every single discovery has all this lore behind it, and it has, it gives you little snapshots into what the world was like, and it's a lot of work done by the developer. They're inventing a world you never get to see, and they give you, they make this very, very rich world, and they have to invent it, and they have to make it, and they have to create characters for it, and they have to create the timeline for it, and give it history. And then they put it behind a curtain so that you can't see it, and they poke small holes in the curtain for you to look through. And that's it. A lot of work done, and you get to see very little of the actual result. But you get to guess at it, and you get to assume at it, which is just so cool. I don't know, I really like it when that happens, because it gives the player a lot of chance to exercise the imagination, and, it gives the player their own world to play in, because your version of the world and your knowledge and assumptions on what the world is actually like is going to be very different from that of another player. Which is just cool. It is very, very cool.
Good world building is the key to a truly excellent game, but
yeah,
of course the catch is just finding that truly excellent game.
They're not as hard to find as you think. I mean, it's It depends on the game, though. There are some games where you don't necessarily need to know about the world. The world is just a backdrop for that which is done. So, for instance, you know, let's say something like... What's a good example? Let's say something like... I got one. Let's name, Knights of the Old Republic.
That had a fairly large setting to begin with, though.
Well, it does have a very large setting, but think about it for a second. The events that occur, how much of those actually depended on where they occurred? For instance, let's name the water level, whatever it's called. I forget the water planet. I can't remember the name.
Manan?
Yeah, Manan, whatever it is. How much of what happens on Manan actually matters if it's on a water planet, a planet of fish people? All that matters is that you have a Sith base and Republic base, and that's it. You don't need anything else. Even the entire underwater section is pretty much entirely designed just to give you an interesting place to go find the next plot device.
The next shiny thing.
No. I said plot device for a reason, because that is literally what that item is. It is a device that furthers the plot.
It also gives you a nice...
else.
I always found with Manan specifically, I find it amusing that it gives you, like... It gives you some information about the history of the generic healing stuff that they use.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. There is tons of lore in that game, and especially if you're into Star Wars, you get all this background history as to what this, that, and the other thing does, which is all very, very cool. But you don't need any of it to play the game.
That's true.
I mean, at all. So
a lot of it's just sort of, I don't know, fluff for people who are already Trekkies. Not Trekkies. What?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I understand what you said. I understand what you meant. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, I think the only places, it does not matter which of the particular rebel enclaves you have, or rebel enclaves, which of the particular Jedi enclaves you went to, you could have become a Jedi anywhere. In fact, KOTOR 2 proves this. So it doesn't matter where you went to. It does not matter, you know, the only times it matters is when it's the actual planet itself that's important to you. Like, for instance, the Sith base, the Sith school, whatever it is, Sith Academy. Then it actually matters what planet you're on, because you are very specifically going to the Sith Academy to go check out Sith Lord tombs and all that jazz. So that matters. Going to the Star Forge matters. Going to, you know, all of that matters because it's the actual location that was the important place. But the rest of the world didn't matter. Didn't matter what world you went to. You can go to Kashyyyk, it doesn't matter because it wasn't important as Kashyyyk, it was just important that it was a world that this particular event can happen. It doesn't matter that you go to, you know, blah. I'm running out of the names of the worlds. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But you know, none of those things matter. They don't matter at all. They're just there. BioWare does that a lot, actually, I've noticed. They have a lot of, this place doesn't matter, but the people do. It's their people are their thing. I find them kind of weak on other fronts, including locations. They like to give you interesting locations, but they don't like to tie in the need to be there. But you have interesting locations, and more importantly, it's an excuse for this person to do this thing that reveals more about their character.
Yeah, people want to care more about... Well, people want to care about their characters now, so...
Well, no, that's absolutely true. It's not... You need to have a place to do it, too. Like, it's all well and good to care about, you know... Let's see, what game can I pick on right now? Let's talk about, well, I guess Mass Effect. I'm picking on BioWare. So, you have... I'm trying to think of which world would be a good one to talk about, because Mass Effect's kind of weird that way. Well, let's talk about the first one. Just the easiest one, New Eden. Where you find Ashley.
Oh God, Ashley.
I
Speaking
take
of characters and trying to care about them,
well,
failing.
yeah. Well, you have Ashley at New Eden. Ashley is a soldier, and part of her character is she was on New Eden when it got attacked, and most of her platoon is dead, and she's reacting to all the carnage around there. And so that's, you want to care about a character, but you have a lot more chance to actually care about it because of where she is. She's a soldier, but so are you, and that's not a big deal, and you just left a ship full of soldiers, and yada yada yada. But the fact that she's on a world where her platoon has died, and you are the war hero who is coming and basically saves her from that hellhole, makes it a lot more interesting. Yeah, stuff like that. Or, Joker wouldn't be half as interesting if he wasn't on the Normandy. Things like that. It's the location is kind of giving the character a chance to shine. The character would still be awesome no matter where. Joker is an awesome character no matter where he goes, and Seth Green did an amazing job at voicing him. But Joker would not be half as awesome if he was not in the Normandy, because then you have just some random, crippled dude who is kind of not able to do much and likes to make jokes about himself. Not half as cool if he's not flying one of the most powerful ships in existence. There's always that subtle interplay there. Yeah, I don't know. I should probably stop picking on BioWare and find some other company to work with, but BioWare does a lot of stuff. I guess a good counterplay to that is the Fable series. Fable puts in a lot of lore and a lot of background in the actual areas, but the characters don't get much attention.
Yeah, I mean, part of the point, or part of the point of the first set of Fables games was, you get to see the same place through how many hundred years is it?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, not even that. So Fable 1, you have your character, the Guildmaster, Maze, the Grey Lady. I'm just trying to think of which other characters are actually Whisper. Whisper was in Fable 1, right? I think so.
Yeah, that was in the first one.
Whisper.
I think.
You have Whisper, you have Teresa. And that's about it for the main character list of characters that actually recur at all. And you, as the main character, have no personality whatsoever, because you're the main character, you're the player, and you're not meant to have a personality. Whisper is just the girl who hits things with sticks. The Guildmaster is just the guy who keeps on annoying you over the phone.
Did you ever hear the story of what happens to him in the second one?
I remember it. What, isn't it something like he annoyed people to such extent they went and hanged him or something?
In the second game, you find a book that describes how he was found murdered with the words, "Your health is low. Use healing
Do you have any potions or food?"
Yeah, engraved into his head.
Yep. Maze is Maze. I'm trying to not spoil anything for the people who have decided never to play modern games. But Maze is Maze. You have the Jack of Blades, but he's the standard enemy, so he's just kind of there. Teresa actually has a personality, but only just. She doesn't really have a personality. She's just kind of mysterious girl. And she kind of maintains that throughout the entire series. I haven't played Fable Journeys yet, so I don't know about that one, but there's just
I don't know anyone who's even got the necessary
Yeah, I don't even have the requisite parts for it.
You and like I said, I don't know anyone else who has the requisite parts for it either.
But yeah, it's at the end of the day, there's just not Oh, that's what that enemy went. Okay. Just Fable put more attention into the areas than the actual characters, which I thought was an interesting touch, because you go in and it gives you a lot of lore about the various areas you're in, but the characters don't get much development. And I think to some extent most of the Elder Scrolls is kind of like that too. Lots of lore for the areas, the history, but none of the characters really get it, with a few notable exceptions. So it's kind of interesting. But it's nice when they put that in, because it's just so much fun. Like, all I have to say for Elder Scrolls is Lusty Argonian Maid. Which, to anyone who has never played the game, or has never found that series of books in the game... Whoa, hello. Hi.
Nice.
That was interesting.
Ah, but are you willing to give up any of your attack
Yes, I
boosters?
am. I'm willing to drop... Yeah. Well, no, it's only 15. I'll hold on to it. 10 attack for 15 defense. I'm not sure if I'm willing to do that. But,
In the hideously unlikely scenario that, you know, you bring someone else into your team, you can give them that.
well, we'll talk about that particular scenario later. But, this should be a teleport switch, which... Yeah, I was gonna say, no matter what, will get me closer to the exit. But, yeah, I just, I don't know, I think lore can make or break a game in some cases. Depends on the game, because, you know, Duke Nukem don't need no lore, but, I think in a lot of cases, some things really do need lore. Then again, I don't particularly need to know why I'm fighting so many human-sized viruses. That's not needed. In fact, you know what? I at least I know why the insects are so big. I can tell you why. There must be less oxygen in the atmosphere on this planet.
Oh? He said cautiously?
I learned that evidently oxygen... I may not have the whole story on this, but apparently the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere will decide how big a insect can get. I think it has something to do with... I might be wrong about this. I think insects breathe through their skin. They don't have lungs. Something like that. So they'd have to have bigger bodies to get more oxygen or something like that. Like, supposedly, if there was no oxygen on the Earth whatsoever, the insects would be as big as, like, cars, something like that. You'd have a car-sized tarantula.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, but I might not be getting the whole story of exactly how that particular relationship works.
Yeah, something sounds wrong there.
Ah, well. Hey, I have a theory, damn it. It also explained why Mag is 16 and his voice is so high. Though we can just wave that away as Protagonon and continue moving on.
That, or, you know, somebody just got really tired of his cluelessness and kicked him squarely in the jimmies.
That could be a thing. I know that happens to a lot of protagonists. Ash Ketchum, I'm looking at you. Well,
although in Mag's defense, you know, he doesn't seem to have the natural perversion quotient that seems to come with
everybody else in the place.
A fatal case of protagonism.
I don't know. That seems to be sidekickism in more cases. Or, I don't know, secondary characterism, something like that. Though, if you want a perverted character thing, you've seen... I'm going to bring it up again, because the only thing on my mind lately, you've seen one of the bounties in Skies of Arcadia, right?
I have, although it's been a very long time.
The old man bounty? Daiku Koya?
Oh shoot, I think it's been too long since I did that one.
So he's the Chinese, he's the Asian culture, the Yafutomen. He's so he's an old man, old man. He's got to be like 60 or 70 years old. So old man, after Vice shows up in Yafutoma, he decides to go out and live the life of an air pirate. So he's been causing trouble, so you got to kind of put him down. So you go out and attack him, and after you beat him, he goes, "Oh, Vice, there you are. I feel awful cold today out here in the land of ice. Would you mind warming me up?" And then Vice goes, "Ugh." And he goes, "Oh, I see. Your heart belongs to another. I see something else that money can't buy." Yeah, it's just, he's like that.
Never mind, also sanity.
Yeah. Never mind. But, yeah, it's, that event always cracks me up. But it is a very, like, nightmare fuel event. Let's go fight this guy. We are distinctly reaching points of taking very long time to get through floors.
Oy.
Yeah. It is distinctly a thing. I think we're on floor 7. We ended the last episode on floor 4. I think I might be able to get to floor 9 by the end of the episode. But this dungeon will probably go into the 20s.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Could be at this a while. Don't know what gives me that idea.
Gives us a lot more chances to get hand parts. Give me hand parts. I think I will say, I spent a lot of time recently on Risk of Rain, which you and everybody else well know. But I was on their forums for the past couple of days, and there's been a discussion about the lore of the game, because the game, at least as of the current update, we're still on 1.02, I think, 1.0.2 or something like that. So we're still really early on, and there's a lot of major updates the developer hasn't quite gotten to yet. So there's a lot of the story that isn't said in the game. And there's a discussion thread going on right now about what everything means, basically what the story is, what are people's assumptions. And I've been talking on it a lot, and there's just... that game is masterful at the pinhole technique to giving you glimpses of the world, but not telling you a damn thing. Which makes it so good. You know? Because it has randomized items you pick up, and you can go into the item log and read details about everything. And each one has its own individual glimpse on what the world is like apart from the actual gameplay itself. Something as simple as an item having an item called the Jar of Souls, and the activated ability on it causes you to make a ghost copy of every enemy on screen that proceeds to attack other enemies on your behalf. And the lore of that is just you have every item in the game, you have basically a packing slip, as if it's a space UPS. And in addition to the packing slip, you also have the note from the sender to the receiver. And the note from some items is kind of like, like on the 56-leaf clover, which causes additional item drops from hard enemies. The packing slip reads something like, "It's a 56-leaf clover! 56 leaves! This must be insanely lucky!" The packing list comment on Jar of Souls only reads as if... it reads like a, as if you were reading, like closed captioning. And it reads, "You hear nothing but screams in the background. Would you like to call the police? Yes, no." And that's it. That's all it says. So you have this very distinct feeling of what that item is in real life. Like, the items, the lore of the item doesn't necessarily correspond to what the item actually does. but you have something like that. Or there's a item called the Heaven Cracker, which is a gigantic drill, which causes attacks to pierce. And the lore behind that item is, it's a description of, it's a gigantic drill, and it's a description of what it can do for mining. It's this long description on exactly how good it is at mining, and how it does it. But then there's this final comment that goes, I don't know why I'm telling you all this, because you aren't going to use it for mining anyways. So you get this idea that this is going to be used as a weapon anyways, and the sender knows it and isn't quite happy about it, but wants to revel in the fact that it's so good at mining anyways. So it's got that cool stuff. And then you have the enemies. The game drops enemy logs and lets you kind of get a glimpse of the enemy when you're not fighting it. Just this description of what the enemy is like. And there's one enemy known as the Child, or Children. Well, no, it's Child, but Children being plural. And it is a ghostly child, and the in-game view of it, especially the in-lore view of it, it looks like a, you know those, you see them a lot in anime, the paper craft outline of a person? Like, it has the circular head on top, and it has, like, the bar arms that are outstretched straight to the sides, and the two legs that flap.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they look like in the art. Very specifically like that. And so it has very, very ethereal quality to them. And they're described as ghostly, that they will play and laugh. Well, they'll play together and run around in circles. But as soon as the player character shows up, it's like a switch flicks, and suddenly you become their plaything in a very, very bad way.
I remember that one. He mentions that, you know, he feels slightly guilty, but he feels much less guilty when they try to kill him.
Yeah, pretty much. But even more so, there's another enemy called a Parent, which is also ghostly, but much larger, and they try to pound you into the ground. And the description for those is that they attack you with their unseeing rage, their blind rage because you killed their offspring, and you understand their grief, but because you cannot stop their anger, you must simply end it. So you get this very good idea of what you're fighting, what it acts like, and why, and none of it has to be shown in the game. Which is, it's so good. It really is. It's so good. And it gives you just this mental picture of what your surroundings are in a game whose graphics are not up to that level. Like, the graphics are not there and never will be, and they don't intend for the graphics to be, you know, they're not even up to Evolution spec. They're totally, you know, 2D, 8-bit style graphics. I mean, not 8-bit, that's not fair.
Have you ever, sorry, just thinking of the graphical style, have you ever played the Sword and Sorcery?
I've played a little bit of it, actually. I was a fan of the graphical style. And actually, I might actually LP that, because I intend to... Oh, god damn it, these guys teleport. I might LP that, actually, because apparently they've given their permission, I believe, and it would be a very interesting game to blind LP, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
It does a reasonably good job of giving you an idea of what's going on in the world without ever actually telling you. It tells you just enough to make it interesting.
And I like that. I love that teasing feel.
But what makes it different in this case is it tells you, like I said, it tells you just enough to be interesting, but it's totally informal about it, and it does it. Every piece of thing that it tells you can be summed up in a Twitter post.
Yeah. Well, also, there's something to be said. There's a statement that said, I love this statement, especially because of the book it comes from. In one of Terry Pratchett's books, in Making Money, there's a comment made by the main character when he's planning on forging a banknote. And, no, he's not forging a banknote. What is he doing? It's not a banknote. He's forging paperwork, I believe. Yeah. He's forging paperwork, and he knows that... What does I think he is? It's a banknote or paperwork, and I can't remember which one. So let's leave it at that. And he makes a comment that, that the harder you try to show detail, the less the audience is going to be convinced, because they will look for what is not there. But if you just insinuate that the detail is there, their own mind will supply it for them, thus making a better forgery than you could ever hope to make. So if you don't show that little thing that everybody specifically looks for, then you're more likely to get away with it because...
Unless you explicitly try to draw attention to it, people will fill in the details themselves.
Right. So on a game like Swords and Sorcery or Risk of Rain, because they are so very simplistic in their portrayal of surroundings and people, your mind is able to fill in the details that the game doesn't actually show you, and you have a better, you have this better mental image of what exactly you're seeing.
Oh, right, very much so. Like, you get just enough graphics to sort of know what the character is and what they're doing, and if you've seen some of like the fan art that's come out of people sort of drawing, their different their interpretations of what the main character looks like, it's interesting to see the differences that come out of that.
Also, this is one of the enemy types I hate the most.
It looks like the swinging camera is just not focused long enough to make out what it is.
The Archaeopteryx, the super fat bird.
Super fat bird. Ah, okay.
That one. And actually,
oh no, I can see it. I was just saying I couldn't make out exactly what it was looking like.
Yeah, I'm not even bothering that thing because these things are. I hate these things so much. They have they have an attack. It's called swooping something or something like that, and they will dive bomb between two characters and cause pretty high damage to both characters simultaneously. And it's Gray just did like 8,000 damage.
That's ow. That's very much ow.
But yeah, they do a lot of ow to your characters, and it's a complete and utter pain in the ass. The funny thing was when you hit them, their eyes bug out. Okay, guys, at the end of floor 8, we did exactly 8 floors during this episode. 8 floors, no, 4 floors. I cannot math. We did 4 floors during this episode, which is a thing. So this is going to take a while for us to get to the end, but hopefully you'll be joining us next time. We'll see you soon.